evening and welcome to the Vigilate Dialogues. I am your host this evening, Shaina Smith, welcoming everyone to the National Boardroom. If this is the first time you may be tuning into the program, this is a community affairs-based program where we talk about the affairs of our quality of life here in the Virgin Islands. And not just talk about the problems, but talk about the solutions. Last time we were here in the boardroom, we had an interesting conversation with Mr. John Klein, the owner for Infinite Solutions. And in that conversation, we talked about BVI Business 102, and we talked about the business owner's perspective versus the consumers, and what we need to be doing to have a stronger and vibrant economy here in the Virgin Islands. He also gave some advice to young and future entrepreneurs, and I do hope you're able to catch a re-air of that program. The Vigilate Dialogues is sponsored by the Auto Spot and Clover Store, and we'll take a commercial break and be right back. Welcome back. You're tuned into the Vigilate Dialogues. I am your host, Shaina Smith, and this evening's conversation, we're going to be speaking with Mrs. Stephanie Brewley-George of a new company called Little Speakers Touch. Our topic is youth development. Welcome, Mrs. George.
Thank you, Shaina, for having me.
Okay. Well, I received a brochure from you a few weeks back, and it was for an upcoming program that your company is planning. But before we go there, I'm sure Little Speakers Touch is a brand new name that no one has ever heard about before. And we had an interesting conversation also about how the whole thing came about. In terms of you venturing out and starting your own company and, what your inspiration was. So I want you to share with us, what is Little Speakers Touch?
Quite contrary to the name, little, it's not just for little people, but that was the primary thought when I decided to branch off to start the company. But Little Speakers Touch is a company that is designed to enhance the public speaking skills of individuals, and we start from the ages of 5 up until adulthood.
Okay.
The second half of Little Speakers Touch is designed to enhance youth abilities, their capabilities, their possibilities, everything that deals with youth. So you will find that Little Speakers Touch will be presenting like different youth programs that will deal with leadership, deal with refinement, every aspect of youth, whether it be arts and craft or whatever. The company is not specializing in these other aspects, however, but we will be subcontracting experts in the areas to be able to, so it's a broad scope for the company itself, but the name was given from the passion in which it was birthed, and that's just to see young people be able to sell themselves properly through speech.
Okay.
It doesn't necessarily have to be on a podium or a preacher or, anything of that sort, but to be able to articulate themselves well, because that helps in this market that is competitive.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. So you want to be able to at least speak properly.
Yeah.
English has become something that's like...
It's very interesting, though.
It's very interesting is an understatement. But, because of technology and other things and developing fads, for lack of better words, we've lost touch with the English language, and you would hear young people say now that it's yanking when you speak properly. And I dare to differ, because English is English across the board. It's just a matter of articulating it well. And it's simple stuff. Putting your grammar where it belongs, expanding where you need to, intonation, everything, articulation, stuff like that. So that's a broad scope, of what the company does, and it's needed.
Yeah,
it's needed.
So, and then you mentioned, I think it's the logo of the company, training young possibilities into mature capabilities.
Yeah.
And I looked at it and I was like, when I was growing up, this would have been something nice, because people come to me all the time and wonder how, I'm able to be on TV and radio and do that type of things. But I always go back and tell them, when I did, I think it was speech class in college, my first speech, I got up, I read straight from the paper, and I went and sat back down. And it's because I had such a fear of public speaking, especially up in front of a group of persons, not necessarily, in a group of people. We could, the fear is in there, but for some reason when we have to get up in front of persons, even if it's for just 2 minutes, we tend to withdraw and have a fear of what people may think of how we say or what we say. So I think training from as young as possible is a good thing. And I see definitely the potential for it as far as what it's needed to do. So what made you go out and do this?
Well, like I said before, it's a passion. In some seminar that I was, whether it was at church or some seminar, I go to so many, somebody said, what disturbs you the most is something that you probably should try to fix.
Okay.
Right? And I thought about it, and I said, well, every time I'm listening to somebody speak or watching a political campaign or on TV or the children doing a recitation in church or whatever, it's like, oh my goodness, they are dragging, they are twiddling their thumbs, they are doing all sorts of, and it just drives me nuts.
Yeah.
So, last year I left on leave from my job for, maternity and everything. And I decided, well, I'm going to take some time out to think, just think. And I decided, well, what do I want to think about?
Yeah.
So I narrowed it down a bit and I started to think, well, where do you want to go? And I said, what bothers you? The thought just came to, what bothers you? What do you want to fix?
Yeah.
And it popped out. And I was like, okay, you want to be able to see youth in the BVI become better, broad. But more so you want to be able to see them articulate themselves well. And it stuck with me, and then over and over I would start dreaming about it. I would start, putting things on paper, and I'm like, okay, this is something that you have a passion for, because then I was just in forward gear, going forward with ideas and stuff like that. So I was like, okay, if you're gonna do it, you're not gonna half step with it. If you're gonna do something, do it well, And I know it's a risk to leave a 9 to 5 and all that good stuff.
Salary monthly.
Everything, just to leave it behind and say. But I said, great people start small.
Yeah.
And I'm a great person.
Okay.
I look at myself as a great person. So that's where the drive came from. And I know it was tough. Family members, wondering, what are you doing?
Yeah.
People are like, oh, how are you gonna eat? How are you But when you have the desire to do something, it not only makes you content with what you're going to do, but it makes you content living daily, knowing that you are fulfilling a purpose.
Yeah.
And that you're making a change. And the BVI is my home, and I want to see a good change. And the change starts young. So that's just, the driving force behind me stepping out on such a branch,
Walking on faith.
Walking on faith.
Well, I want to commend you for this bold step. I'm very excited about the upcoming program that you're about to launch, which would be your first program.
Yes.
Called Shape Up. And I think this program is just for girls, correct?
This one.
Okay, this one. But it won't be that you're just focusing on
girls,
young ladies, but it'll be across the board. Okay. So we'll make sure we bring the information for the boys so they don't feel left out. But I completely agree with you, though, as far as, the whole thing about communication is very key. And wanting our young people to be able to stand out and show themselves strong and capable, based on the potential we know them to have. I mean, just the other day, I think it was at church, and the speaker was talking to the kids, and it's like everybody's looking down on the floor and, not making eye contact. So things like that show, who you are, communicate so much more about you than just what you say, or, more so about how you say it, so that's very key. So let's talk about Shape Up. What is Shape Up about?
Shape Up, well, quite contrary to what the name sounds like, Shape Up, because one lady, when I was showing her the brochure and introducing the program to her, she says, well, I saw Shape Up and I'm thinking it's a weight loss program.
Yeah, something with fitness.
And something with fitness, and I'm like, no, it's not about that. So it's not what the name is, but Shape Up is a 2-week inspirational, educational, practical program designed for girls between the ages of 10 through 18, to be held at the 6th District Community Center in Purcell Estate. And it's designed to cover a number of areas that will help young ladies to do exactly what it says, shape up. And some of those areas include, best public speaking practices, leadership development, table etiquette and setting, and dressing for success. And these areas are very broad, but it will at least give them an introduction to what they can start to do from now to become the lady on the cutting edge. The brochure has, designed for that up and coming young lady who's designed and deemed to be on the cutting edge in today's competitive market.
Yeah.
So it's broad, it's theory, practical, holistic.
Okay.
So that's just a general overview of what the program is in the Easter.
Okay, what dates would they be held?
It will be held from the 2nd, it's through the Easter break, the school Easter break, well, at least the public schools that I'm aware of.
Okay.
The 2nd of April through the 14th. And so the 2nd, if you want me to expand a bit, we will be having, the day 1. We call it elbows off the table. So we're going to have a speaker and an illustrator. She's going to be basically teaching them about the different aspects of table setting, different aspects of table etiquette, the different aspects of serving and conducting yourselves around the table. She's actually been in the hotel and restaurant industry for over 25 years and has served in some of the high ends of the BVI Peter Island and now at Sabre Rock and stuff like that. So, and that's Kimberly Kuntz. And on the 2nd day, this is the exciting part because that's the field trip. It's early, but it's the exciting part. It's going to be.
So they will be going to Scrub Island?
They will be going to Scrub Island. Good guess.
First day off.
Absolutely.
I'll be signing up. Let's go.
So the 2nd day, they'll be going to Scrub Island, and that day Scrub Island has designated just for the ladies of Shape Up. They have blocked out their entire dining room upstairs and downstairs. We're so grateful. So they're partnering with us really, wholeheartedly.
Great.
And the girls will be able to interact with each other on the things that they've learned the day prior in practical.
Okay.
So now the tables will be empty. They will set the table. So 50 girls, you have 25 sitting for lunch, well dressed, refined, and everything to do lunch. And 25 will serve.
Okay.
Set the table, do these, and it's a 3-course full lunch that's prepared by the Scrub Island Resort, and then they would switch.
Okay.
So that they would be. Now we're not saying that all of them will become, waitresses, but it's always good to know these things because you at some point they're gonna be ladies that are gonna sit and be served, and they can be able to say, well, my waitress, she did not.
Yeah.
Or
even go into a formal function and knowing basically how to operate around the table.
Absolutely.
What's the salad fork? What's the dinner fork?
Definitely.
Those things always confuse me. So that's good information.
Yeah. So they're going to be well taught. And it's the entire day. So we're taking the boat over and it's 11 to 5. It's a whole day of practical evaluations and stuff like that. And so it's, that area I think is very keen.
Yeah. Well, it starts off really exciting there. I'm already
Definitely.
excited. Okay, so that's day 1 and day 2. Elbows off the table. All right. So what will they be for the other 2 days? The other days.
The other days we have dressing for success. That's day 4 and 5. I mean, the 4th and the 5th of April. So I have day 4 and 5 was day 1 and 2.
Okay.
Okay. Dressing for success. Now we have a lawyer. And she works at Maples and Calder. Her name is Ayanna Hall Brathwaite, and she will be telling them and teaching them and informing them of the do's and the don'ts of dressing for success, what not to wear.
Okay.
That's the phrase for the day, what not to wear.
Okay.
So they will get an overview of how to dress for an interview, how to dress for church, how to dress for, a formal dinner. Because sometimes, and now what you're seeing is that people can't differentiate between formal, informal.
Elegantly casual.
It's all mixed up. It's all mixed up, So we want to be able to get a whole scope of dressing. Everybody has their particular style, but there are just some things that when you categorize it, that needs to be adhered to if you're going to be on the cutting edge.
Yeah.
You don't want to go to the premier's ball in a short pants or, you want to be on the edge. So she will be doing day 1 of that theory, and then the 2nd day practical.
Okay.
So we're going to be having the young ladies dress mannequins, for instance. They're going to be set with a number of clothing pieces, accessories, and stuff like that.
Okay.
Just laid out, and one of the exercises would be that they would have to put together an outfit for, church, or an outfit for, and that they were actually going to challenge them to actually dress for an occasion.
Okay.
So it doesn't necessarily have to be, work attire. You choose which one, and then you will come up and you will talk. So it will be a day in the field of dressing. So everybody will dress different. You don't want just limited. You don't know what they have in the closet. You want to make sure that they have something. So even if it's casual, I'm coming casual today.
Yeah.
But be able to define what dress you're in. So that's day 3 and 4. And so that's dressing for success. And
So we have the elbows off the table. We have on our nice little cocktail dress for the reception that we may get invited to.
Absolutely.
And what's next?
Then we have best public speaking practices.
Okay.
And that's power of the tongue. That's what we call it, power of the tongue. It's literally the power of the tongue, because public speaking is so intricate in today's day. You know, it differentiates the difference between someone that gets a job and someone that doesn't.
The movers and the shakers, basically.
You know,
people who can talk well.
Yeah, I mean, even if they can't perform, if they can sell themselves, they're on the edge already.
Yeah.
So you want to be able to get those individuals that, you know, maybe shy or maybe a little more reserved and have the knowledge. Because what I find is that you have a lot of shy people that have a wealth of knowledge. They can write books. They can do so much. Young ladies, young men, you know, and they just can't articulate
Express themselves
well,
verbally.
you know, and that puts them at a disadvantage in the race, you know. And we want to make sure that everybody, all our youths, are on that edge just by being able to speak properly. You know, it's a simple thing. It's simple techniques. It's not rocket science. You just have to be able to get to that part, and it takes time. It takes
a lot of practice.
It takes time, and it takes practice. And you know, somebody would ask me, you know, well, why are you doing this? And aren't the English teacher supposed to be doing that? The truth of the matter is, they don't have the time. You know, you're in a classroom and you're teaching math, you're trying to get the concept out. You're teaching history, you're trying to get the notes and, you know, preparing them for whatever. So it's a specific area that needs addressing. And, you know, with the pairs and everything on a day-to-day basis, it's going to be something that needs constant work. It's something that
I think we need to pause there, because it is something where I've noticed over the years. I remember when, like when we were in school, we knew, especially in a classroom setting, we had to speak, you know, properly. We had to put our sentences together and have the right verb agreement. And, you know, and when we got out with our friends on the playground, you know, we would switch it up. And I find that you don't see that ability anymore. I don't know why. I don't know what else to call it, but it's something, because when I got into the workplace and you see younger persons coming in and you just have to vet documents and stuff, you know, it's evident, because just like how we shorthand, whether it's in email or in texts, we go and we put this now into a business document, and it causes a lot of problem. So it's not necessarily that it's not being taught in the schools, but it's not being reinforced. I think across the board, because yes, we have our local dialect, and that's always going to be a part of us as a people. But it is very important that we're able to articulate and know good grammar, good spelling, good everything, and read a lot. Because I think that's another thing I want to encourage young people to do, is to read a lot. Too many times we want to be entertained watching movies, TV, video games, and those types of things. But to be a very good speaker, it's important that you read a lot, because then you're able to have, you know, a very sizable vocabulary from which to draw. So that's really key. So.
You're absolutely correct.
Yeah, so public speaking is a very big thing, even though, you know, people say, well, I can speak already.
You do hear it.
What's the deal? It's not that important, but when you really start to pay attention, you know, to say, watching President Barack Obama speak versus Newt Gingrich or a rapper, you know, how they present themselves, it reflects on them, but it also influences how seriously I take you.
Exactly.
Okay? And that's one of the things too, I think we really need to reinforce in our young people, and not just accept, because my mother was a teacher, your mom is a teacher too, so we know. What did you just say?
Absolutely.
No. Try that one again. So we had the rehearsal where these things were reinforced at home, and you know, they know we could switch up, and we have to pay attention. Because even now with me being, you know, having to be doing a lot of public speaking, because on TV and radio is the same thing. People would still stop me every once in a while, like, you know, the dialect is coming out a little bit much. You have to, and I'm like, oh, okay, because I don't hear myself, and that's another thing where going to a session like this, even though it's only that one day, you know, it enables you to become more self-aware and self-conscious. In terms of how you articulate yourself, and to practice. So you know if there are certain words that you might be slurring or saying a lot or using your hands too much, you know, those types of things we get caught with all the time. I think that's good information, and that'll be a very good session for them. I like the idea of that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
who's going to be conducting that one, actually?
I will be facilitating that area.
Okay.
And I actually have a surprise guest speaker that will be coming in on the day of the practical as well. So
okay.
the day one, we will try to cover as much as, and let me just interject, public speaking doesn't go without speech writing. It's critical. I mean, for the children at ages 5, and when we're talking about the company now in general, when we're doing our coaching and everything like that, you're not going to focus a lot on speech writing, but when you get to when we're training those that are able to write their own speeches and stuff, it's going to they can't go.
It's a focus, yeah.
It has to be married, and it's critical.
Yeah.
I will be doing the theory part of it, and the practical part is actually going to be a day of public speaking, so they're going to be challenged to write something about themselves, nothing more than 5 minutes, because you have 50 girls, you don't want anybody up there more than 5 minutes, talking about themselves. And then we're going to evaluate each other. It's not going to be a critical, negativity. You want to be able to enhance. Yeah. And that's the purpose of it. So we're going to be able to sit one to another and say, she used a filler, or at least they are aware of what they're doing. Yeah. She's shaking her fingers, or she's looking in the roof, and that's not supposed to be done. So you want to be able to make them accountable. Yeah. First to each other in that setting, and then when they get out, hopefully take something with them in that area. So that's day 1 and day 2, and then the surprise speaker, she's gonna put it all into practice. Put some more body to the whole thing. Okay. So that's power of the tongue. Okay. And the last area that you'll be covering is leadership development. Yes. And it speaks for itself. Today we have a lot of youth on the whole insecure, uncertain, not sure. I need her opinion. I need his opinion. Not confident. And leadership development is just the beginning, the push to recognizing, who am I? What do I want to become? Where do I want to go? If you can't answer those questions, at least have some kind of area that you're channeling towards. It's kind of iffy about who you are. You want to be somebody substantial. You want to be able to stand for something. And at this age, between the ages of 10 and 16, 10 and 18, you may not know what career, because my career goals changed 100 times between there, from primary school. You probably want to be a hairdresser, and then you want to be a lawyer, and then a doctor, and all this kind of stuff. But then when you get further down and start to see, the actuals and stuff, you decide. But I'm saying that, you want to have some kind of something within you. Okay. So it's about developing their vision. Right. And developing their leadership skills. Yeah. That's the first part, and developing their leadership skills. You want to be able to, when you have a group assignment, if you are called on to be the leader, be the leader. Yeah. You assign tasks. These are things that you have to do, and it starts from in school, because in college it's no different. They put you in groups and stuff. That's a small example. You want to be able to say, well, if I'm going to be the supervisor of the HR department, I have to be able to delegate. So we're going to use practical examples and exhibitions for that area, and the person that's going to be doing that is the director of communications for the government of the Virgin Islands. Her name is Mrs. Arlene T. Penn. I was so glad when I met her and stuff like that, and she was like so happy to be on board. And she's going to be there for one day, and she's going to give them as much as she can, because she's extremely busy. So here's to telling her thank you. And she's going to be giving them as much as she possibly can on that area, and then we will reinforce on the next day for practical. Okay. And have them in groups and say, well, okay, this is your assignment. You're the leader of a class group on a project to do so and so. You're the HR person for this team, and get really practical with them throughout the entire day. Okay. So leadership development we're going to try to cover as much areas as possible, so that they can get that push toward it's an ongoing thing, but it's necessary. Too often you find that you have programs where it's just, okay, we're going to do track and field today, and sports is sports. It's vital for those that are interested, but there are other aspects of an individual, young lady, a young man, that needs developing, and that people need to impart into them, and every opportunity is necessary for them to be able to gain this type of substance to becoming that full human being.
And I'm glad you're emphasizing that, because we often hear the debate about are leaders born or made. And I think it's a combination of both, because we are born with certain personalities. Some personalities lend themselves to being the leader of the pack, others don't. So, but it is not to say that if you start off and you have a more introvert personality, that you can't become a manager or be a leader of your own company, or, you know, if called upon, even if it's just two people. And this is a thing where we take, even, you know, because it can be that simple, we take it for granted. Because you and I could be sitting there and be like, okay, we want to go and plan, okay, we want to go someplace on vacation. But nobody is coming forward and saying, all right, this is what we're going to do, Stephanie. X, Y, Z. Exactly. So it's something where we tend to, I don't know, I don't think it's a cultural thing, even though some people try to attribute it to culture. That, you know, we're passive people. We draw back and we tend to let other people go forward. But you do find, though, in other Caribbean islands, other island cultures, that, you know, some may be more assertive and aggressive than others, but it is all a part of training.
Absolutely.
Because if I train you to be a go-getter, there is nothing basically that can stop you from getting what it is you set your mind to.
That's right.
So, you know, becoming a leader is just that. It's about becoming. It's about learning.
It's a growing process.
You know, things like organizational skills, about time management. Because we have people that might have a title, but that doesn't make them a leader.
Absolutely.
So I hope that's something that you guys really emphasize, because that has always been, you know, one of those, another ongoing debate about, you know, having a title doesn't make you a leader. But it's a lot more than that. So I'm glad, again, to see, you know, that being developed at such a young age. And like you're saying, these things complement other areas of your development. Absolutely. Because if you go into a sports team setting, somebody has to be the team captain. And they can't just be the team captain because they're the best athlete on the team, but they will also be, you know, expected to perform certain things and show leadership, basically.
Absolutely.
So that's really key. Okay. So those are the 4 areas that Shape Up is going to be covering. And let me just, in case someone just tuned in, you are tuned in to the Vigilate Dialogues. And this evening in the National Boardroom, we're speaking with Mrs. Stephanie Brewley-George, almost messed that up, from Little Speakers Touch, and her upcoming program called Shape Up that will be going on during the Easter holidays. It's the 2nd to the 14th. Okay, we're going to take a commercial break at this point, and we're going to come back and talk more about the program, the goals of the program, making sure for those that just tuned in, they get some more information about where it's at, how they can register and be a part of this. Okay? So we'll be right back after a word from our sponsors. This is your host, Shaina Smith, and you're tuned in to our program this evening in the boardroom. We're talking about youth development and Little Speakers Touch. It's a new company that has been formed by Mrs. Stephanie Brewley-George, and she's with us tonight talking about her passion of helping our young people become more articulate in their communication, in their presentation of themselves. We talked about the program that you have coming up over the Easter holidays called Shape Up. And it's not a fitness program, in case you missed the details earlier. It is actually something that we're targeting young ladies from 10 to 18 and teaching them things like table etiquette, elbows off the table, dressing for success, what not to wear, best public speaking practices, the power of the tongue, and leadership development, leading beats following. So there's a mix of theory and practical exercises, which is good. So that way we know, you know, the participants have left with something and hopefully will continue to practice. For the person that may be saying, this is the first I'm hearing about this, and, you know, the dates are April 2nd, which is right around the corner, and may not have heard about it. Talk a little bit about how you started launching this and getting it out there.
The initial thought was to, the easy way out, just go get the pamphlets ready and then put them, you know, in the children's bags, and then however much parents respond, you know, then you just, you know, go with that amount of number. But then that amount of children, correct English, right? But speaking with some of the facilitators, you know, it was like let's target a specific need. You know, you want to be able to help everybody, but then if you notice in society, those that are helped are always being helped. Those that can afford to be helped are always pushing towards getting better. And you know, the one thing I don't want to have is a segregation of the who's who and the who's not, or who's everybody is somebody. And that's the BVI that we want to have. So that's just the disclaimer right there. And so it dawned when one of my facilitators and I were speaking, and she said to me, you know, maybe you should get sponsors too, for those that can't afford. You know, and I'm like, you're in the BVI, you don't want to be asking people for money, and you know, everybody having a hard time and stuff. She's like, try it, but you're targeting the needs of those that can't help themselves, because the program is actually $175 for the entire 2 weeks, and this covers the cost of the venue, it covers lunch and you know, expenses and stuff. So they'll be fed every day. They have a t-shirt that they're going to be wearing and stuff like that. The program, you know, they have a closing program for the sponsors now and everybody to see. So it has a cost associated with everything, you know, facilities, everything. And so it's like I took that approach to get names of those individuals from different schools and different institutions that have needing children for the program, you know, and decided, well, I'm going to target 50, but if more comes on, I'm not going to turn them away. The 6th District Community Center is awesome. Space enough to host these.
And this is in Purcell Estate? In
Purcell Estate, you know, and I think it needs to be used, quite frankly, and I'm going to use it.
Well, it's a community center for the community.
Absolutely.
So you're the community. Let's do this.
I'm going to use it. And so that's the approach that I took. And this is the first public debut of what the program is, you know, so the entire BVI is seeing now. And I take this opportunity to say thank you to those that have sponsored girls. We haven't gotten all 50 of them sponsored, but I know that somebody will. Somebody will, you know.
After tonight, hopefully they will be calling you all week. Okay, good.
Somebody will, because they need it, and the girls and their parents are all excited about it, and they're like, I hope.
So you already have 50 girls lined up?
And counting.
Wow.
And counting. The girls are just excited. You know, this one girl, she saw me, not to drift, but this one girl, she saw me, it was yesterday, and she was going from school to town. And she stopped because a guy on the corner, she didn't know I was seeing her, a guy on the corner called her. And I'm sitting there and I'm saying, my goodness, this guy has nothing good in store for her, I can tell you. And then I just said, Miss So-and-so. She said, somebody. You know, she started to explain herself, like she felt convicted to explain to me, but I already seen what was going on. And I said to her, come here. Is school finished? And you know, she's like, yeah, but I go in so and so, and you know, and she got in the car. And then I said to her when we're driving off, because I now gave her a right to talk. As we were driving off, I said to her, you know, don't do that to yourself. He has no good intention for you. The way he addressed you was poor. You know, that type of thing. And it's not because, you know, I'm perfect or anything like that. It's because I know, I've experienced, you know, I've seen, and I don't want that for our young ladies. I don't care where they're coming from, their background. I don't care where you're from. They don't deserve that. And I think that we need to put that foot forward to help another
and set that standard
for themselves. And you know what she told me? She said, because she's one of the girls that we've come into the program, she said, so you're going to be teaching about this kind of stuff too in her language, you know? And I said, yes, because I know that there will be an opportunity for many other facilitators, the host and stuff like that, to impart something about self-worth. Even though we have our set topics. And I think that's needed. Young people want to know, as much as they seem rebellious or, you know, not concerned, they want to know. And no one institution can do it.
Exactly.
Everybody needs to play a part.
And I think that's what's so key about a program like this and any others that are being put on, because we hear about different programs going on in the community, and each one has its purpose and role to fill. And you know, like you're saying, I made a note of it before, because the thought that came to me was about self-esteem. You know, I can't hold a class on self-esteem, but if you give me information that empowers me, it builds me up. You know, then I feel more confident about myself, because then I know, well, okay, if I go to the government house, I know how to act. You know, and I wouldn't feel embarrassed or ashamed because, you know, you're trying to fit in in that setting, because that's not, you know, a lot of times we're outside of our comfort zone, and that makes us nervous when you have to deal with unknown situations or situations that you don't feel prepared for. So that is so key that you use that example there, as far as, you know, hopefully she be holding her head up high and know how to let the young man know how to address her.
You know, moving forward.
Going forward.
And it's
exactly.
a start. It's a start. Nothing changes overnight. You know, I'm young.
Yeah.
You know, but things have had to change, and a lot of things, you know, and I consider my background growing up fairly well, you know, in terms of the people that were influential in helping me get to this point. But I'm saying that it doesn't matter what background you come from.
Yeah.
Everybody still needs an additional something, because it's a work in progress, especially if it's every day these challenges are being faced. It outweighs the amount of times that somebody imparts the positive.
Exactly.
So we want to be able to do as much as possible. I can't really
and start early.
And start now,
and
you know, start now.
Yeah.
I was at one presentation and this one guy said, why are you teaching children, you know, at age 10 how to dress for success? And I dared to differ, because I knew that his intent was to say it's too young because they're not prepared. I was 10 in high school for first form, and I know that's young, and but why are children being exposed to pornography at this age? You know, there's a flip side to everything. So if they can understand what they're doing negative, I can impart what's positive. Because if nobody else, again, teaches them by the time they get to fifth form, or, you know, what it is or what does it take to be that person that dresses well for any function. It would have been done
even if
now.
it's movies, because, you know, we see the dress code and I'm like, oh my goodness.
And we're not saying, not to be misconstrued, we're not saying that you can't be sexy, for lack of better words, but sexy doesn't mean expose yourself.
Exactly.
You know, I think that's been the philosophy.
And
Everything
that's
out,
kind of
you know?
what they see. You know, and that's what's portrayed, whether it's on the streets or on the TV, wherever. It's important that they have a positive role model someplace, because at the end of the day, we know that it's their choice. So they're going to make their choices.
Anyway.
But we want to make sure that they have the information to make an informed decision. Because whether you're 15 or you're 25, you know, your life is the sum total of your choices, and whatever information you have, assuming now you had this from a young age, you know, you kind of fast track the things that you and I probably had to learn the hard way, because we didn't have shape out, but it's okay.
and you want to be able to, and I don't want to get too scriptural, but it is a fact. If you train up a child in the way it should go, when it's old, it won't depart. And it's not just saying you teach them Bible, Genesis 1 and 2, Revelation 20, whatever. But I'm saying that you want to be able to engrave these things in the youth.
Values.
And now, at that core part of them. So that even if they decide, well, I can go jam band and put on and do whatever, it's their choice. But at some point in their life, if they live long enough, they keep living, they're going to realize that I'm going to have to tame it down. I'm going to have to, and most of them become mothers. You know, something will bring them around, and they will remember. They will remember.
Because that is always one of those things. I went to a function the other day, it was late last year, and, you know, I came in a dress. And, like, for people who know me from growing up, it's like Shaina is always in pants, whether it's jeans or shorts, because I grew up around a lot of boy cousins, so I had to keep up with the pack. So it's something where, you know, eventually I had to come into my own, and I want to encourage a parent tonight who may feel like, you know, goodness gracious, you don't know what you're going to do with her. It's all a process. And I think in terms of, again, talking about these types of things from a very early age, helps them to start to kind of write their own script and figure out who they are, what it is they want to do, and let their choices take them there. So they're able to make the right one. So, you know, I had a choice. Now I can walk in the store and buy a dress. Because you understand how now I can go from dress, jeans, shorts, whatever.
Switch it up.
Because I understand now, well, okay, you can't wear a pants to everything, even though you would like to, because that's what I like. But it's something where it just amazes me, though, when people see it as if you can't, you know, growing up is just that. It's a process. It's all about becoming the woman, becoming the young man, you know, that you're destined to be. And given the right tools, you're gonna make it. But like you're saying, regardless of the background, So,
Absolutely.
you know, persons who may not have positive role models around them, this is an opportunity now for them to come and get in a positive environment for 2 weeks, and you know, have that coaching, as it were, mentoring, as it goes, and have those things instilled. So I really appreciate the whole, you know, the objective behind of it, and what the outcome would be. Is this something that's going to be annual?
It is.
Okay.
It is. It is going to be annual, because every year you have a new set of girls between that age, and some girls that didn't get to come this year, once these are impacted, and I know they will be, you know, they're gonna tell a friend, and parents always are looking for somewhere to take the kids in the Easter, in the Christmas, in the summer, whatever it is, and some place that's safe. You know, so you want to be able to, and I know that impact will be made. I speak confidently because I know it will be made. And so it's going to be annual. Okay. So, and it's going to take the same approach, you know, every year, because we can't reach everybody in one shot. So.
All right. Well, would you believe we're already under the tyranny of the clock? So let's talk about, well, again, reiterate the information as far as the program, when, where, who. Is transportation going to be provided?
We're trying to get, and I'm still in the process of planning
that out. Okay.
Yeah, the transportation online, but transportation will be, because on the registration form there's a section that says, do you need transportation? So to say that the bus is already prepared and the driver, it's not finalized, but there will be transportation
by April 2nd.
By April 2nd.
All right. So all right. Well, let our audience at home know what Shape Up is, when, where, how do they sign up, the costs, and leave them with some parting words.
Okay, well, to the viewing audience that wants to know and needs to know what Shape Up is a 2-week Easter program designed for young ladies between the ages of 10 through 18 to give them practical and theoretical information on dressing for success, table etiquette, leadership development, and best public speaking practices. It's going to be held from April 2nd through the 14th at the 6th District Community Center, from 9 to 3 daily, with the exception of holidays. It's going to be having a closing program where parents of those that sign up, you know, will be able to see an exhibition of what the girls have learned in a creative way on the 14th, which is a Saturday, at 7 p.m. sharp.
Alrighty.
The cost for the program is $175 per child. That includes lunch, the official Shape Up t-shirt, the materials for writing, the field trip. It includes everything for that entire 2 weeks, transportation, everything for that entire 2 weeks. How do you register? My name is Stephanie Brewley-George of Little Speakers Touch, and the contact numbers for the company are 284-343-5301 and 284-442-4940. That's 343-5301 and 442-4940. We're also beckoning to people in the community, business owners alike, that if you know a young ladies that may need this help, be my guest to sponsor them. And for parents that want to send their kids, be my guest. There's space open for them, but we really would like all these 50 girls that are listed on the list to be able to be sponsored by April 2nd. So please, you know, it's bound to be informative, challenging, and educational, practical, everything, you know, it's a holistic program. That's what we're calling, my team and I, a holistic approach to that life of that up and coming young lady, and everybody is somebody. So that's it.
That's it. Do you have a list of sponsors you'd like to thank, or?
So far on board, we have the Youth Affairs and Sports Department. We have the Honorable Andrew Foy. We have Honorable Alvaro Keynes. We have Nagico Insurance. I would like to say that this one thing that Sean from Nagico Insurance told me, I think it's vital for everybody to know. When I sat before him, he said to me, you're brave. He said, you're like me. I said, what do you mean? He said, I believe in me. And that stuck with me. So I would like to tell him, thank you, because I believe in me, and that young lady will believe in her by the time she's finished with this program. So we have the Mutual of Omaha, and you know, we have Eureka Medical Clinic. These individuals that decided they're going to just sponsor a girl, 2 girls, you know, nothing, you know, but substantial. We have the Beaver Investment Club decided to do, you know, so we want to thank those that have partnered with us thus far. And without you, the program won't be possible. parents, we have different individuals that wish not to be mentioned and stuff like that, that decided, I don't have a daughter, but, you know.
Yeah. They see the value in it.
They see the value, and they decided to, and I said, well, sure, send me her name, you know. So apart from the 50 girls that I have, they have decided to send, we have the Rotary Club of, is it Rotary? No. Is it Rotary? I can't remember which one it was. Rotary Club. I remember. So we just want to thank Kyria Christopher and Mr. Liverpool and stuff like that. That club.
Okay.
I don't want to mix them up. That's why.
Okay.
For their girls, their contribution and so forth to this program as well. So we're up and going, and it's only up from here.
Okay.
You know,
I think so.
It's only up.
So if they want to sponsor, then they would call you.
They would call me.
Okay.
You know. We don't have a stationary office as yet because the program and the service, it's mobile more or less because
where there's a need, you show up.
Wherever there's a need, I'm there. All right. And that's just for now, though.
Okay. Alrighty. And then the presenters again, because again, somebody might see one of your presenters and say, I want to sign up. So we can let them know.
You have Mrs. Arlene T. Penn. She's the director. She's extremely busy with government. I want to advise you to bombard her. We have Mrs. Ayana Hall Brathwaite, we have Miss Kimberly Kuntz, and we have myself, and then the surprise, you know.
We can't talk to the guests
yet.
And
we can't tell you who that is.
All
right. Be proud of her.
Great. Well, Stephanie, I want to thank you for, first off, for the following through on this dream. I can tell this is something you just sat down and just, I want to do this, and just made it happen. Absolutely. And I think that's very important for kids to see today, that, you know, the role models that we're looking for don't necessarily appear on the TV screen. Well, in this case, they do. But in this case, they do. But it's something where we don't need to look too far, so to speak, outside of our community to look for people who are trying to make a positive difference. So I definitely, again, commend you for your effort, and I wish you all the success with this program. Thank you. And hope, you know, we hear about more programs, because I'm sure this is only the first.
It is
of
the first.
Many
this
to
is
come.
The first.
Great.
Yeah.
All right.
We're going to be having the boys, not to prolong, the boys program coming up. It's going to be an ongoing weekend program, so it's not going to be consecutive because we don't have an Easter break, you know, coming up. And then after that, we're going to be having the summer programs.
Okay.
So it's going to be split.
All right.
In the BVI. So look forward. The Speakers Touch will be presenting different, innovative, holistic programs for our youth.
I know that's right. First day out, we're going to scrub by.
Absolutely.
I'm signing up tonight. All right. Well, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for tuning in tonight in the National Boardroom. We've been talking about how we can better our youth, how we can enhance them, make them stronger individuals. Because I think we take for granted that, you know, everybody is into bad stuff. But the whole idea is that, as our grandparents would say, ounce of prevention is better than cure. So this is where we're trying to give them that information for life, basically, for living. And I can safely say if I had something like this, I would be so appreciative of it. So if you're a young person between the ages of 10 and 18 and you're watching this program, you know, talk on daddy or talk on mommy, tell them I want to sign up, I want to attend for the Easter, and get involved in somehow. A person, you need volunteers for your program?
We have a set number of volunteers that have already said they're gonna
show up,
work the program.
All right.
But too much is never
such thing as too much help.
You know.
So if you want to help out, you can also get in touch with Stephanie on this endeavor. So we're looking forward to hearing great things. You're tuned into the Vigilante Dialogues. We are here live on Channel 51 on Thursdays at 9 p.m., re-aired on Sundays at 6 p.m. We want to thank our sponsors, the Auto Spot and Clovers. And if you would like to be a guest or a sponsor, you can call us here at the studio at 494-7815. Leave your information, and we will get back in touch with you. You can also watch us on live stream on the website, www.cbnbvi.com. So if you have persons that live away, part of the BVI diaspora, that would like to tune in, they can go on the website at the times when it's broadcasting as well on the channel and see us there. That's www.cbnbvi.com. I am your host, Shaina Smith. As always saying, let's continue the change in conversation. Good evening.